Good morning and welcome to Homepage, a public affairs feature of 93.7 K Country and Wind FM, 95.5, 92.5, and 107.9. I'm Bob Moody, and my guest this morning is Sherry Roberts and Candy Homan. Now, Sherry is from the Michell O Gram, and Candy is from Bunko Babes. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I got the email from you and it said Michell O Gram, I was like, what in the world is Michell O Gram? So give us some insight. I read through your page about us. So tell us about Michell O Gram.
Well, the Michell O Gram was founded 10 years ago. We had a young lady in Denellen, Michelle Blauser Standridge, who found she had cancer when she was 33, and while she was going through treatments for 3 years, she was always saying to women, be sure and get your mammograms. It's so important. So at the time she died, when she was 36, one of the ladies in our church came and said, why don't we think about helping other people? And she said, we could do a few ladies in the church. So we started. That year we did 2 and had a couple little fundraisers. Well, by the next year, the word was getting out, and the Michell O Gram was becoming much better known. We'd have a whole list of ladies waiting to get a mammogram, and as we'd get in a few dollars, we'd cross another name off. So the reason that it's called the Michell O Gram is in honor or memory of Michelle and what she was trying to do for others.
What year did you say this started?
This started in 2009. This is our 10th year anniversary.
10 years. Mm-hmm. I've been embarrassed almost to say that I haven't heard of Michell O Gram, so that's why we want you on the program here on Homepage. Let's get that word out. And we also have Candy Homan, and you're with Bunko Babes. Tell us a little bit about Bunko Babes.
Okay, well, 11 years ago, we were just a group of ladies that played bunco, and one of our members actually happened upon a charity challenge that Procter & Gamble was sponsoring, and for the bunco group in the United States that could raise the most money for bunco for breast cancer would win a trip to Vegas and be in what was called a bunco roll-off championship with a $50,000 purse. And we actually found out about the challenge 9 days before it was over. We had bake sales, car washes, bunco luncheons, and we actually won that trip. And at the trip, part of our prize was a private reception with Naomi Judd, because she was the MC of the actual charity event. And she's a breast cancer survivor and a bunco player. Mm-hmm. And at the private reception, we met the lady that founded Bunko for breast cancer. So the 12 ladies in our group came back to Florida, fired up, ready to raise the money for breast cancer. And we literally did not know what we were doing. We were scared to death. We held our first bunco tournament. We sold out immediately to 204 players. And we made a quilt. We had our bunco tournament, and we raised $10,000 the first year. Okay. And our benefactor, who was the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, we were happy to do that for them, but they are a nationwide organization, and a lot of our donors who were helping us with gifts and donations and sponsorships were questioning the money that they were giving was going to a national organization and not staying local. Mm-hmm. So after the first year, we decided to go with another organization that was more local, but was still a national organization. And we did that for a couple of years and donated all of our money to them. But then we found out about Michell O Gram, which is local and is a 100% not-for-profit organization. Every penny that goes there goes right out to actual recipients who are receiving breast cancer diagnostic testing, treatment, what have you, whatever is required. There are literally no salaries, no real estate. Everything is all by donations and volunteers.
Sherry, this organization, Michell O Gram, where is it based at?
We're based in Denellen, but we do serve a 6-county area here in the center of Florida. And, of course, Marion County is our prime focus, but we work with clients out of Inverness, out of the villages, all around.
6 counties?
Yes, sir.
Is that the Levy County?
We
Is
go
it
to
north, south?
Levy and Alachua, Lake County,
County?
and Citrus and Sumter.
As Candy was telling us, the monies that you raise go straight back into the community,
That's right.
right? Tell us a
All
little
of our
about how you do
postage
that.
stamps, even our brochures, anything like computer cartridges, all of that is donated. So every cent that comes in goes back out. Like over the last 4 months, we've spent over $10,000. And that's at negotiated pricing where typically it runs between a third and a fourth of the actual charge. So we're fortunate in that way that our money goes even farther than what it would be if we were paying the straight out cash price.
A straight up cash price for
A mammogram or a diagnostic mammogram. And in the last 3 years, we've actually been able to help with biopsies. And that's a huge step. If people don't get that, the biopsy, they can't begin any treatment. So we're really excited about that. And of course, like we all know, biopsies are very expensive.
who gets this help? Do you have to qualify for that, or is it someone who just contacts you or the organization?
Right. We just have a message line set up through Google, and the clients call that. Sometimes we get calls from doctors' offices. We get calls from physician offices. We get calls from the American Cancer Society or part of Florida or free clinics. We get referrals from a lot of different directions, and we do not have any kind of a qualification. At first, we were going to do only ones that didn't have insurance, but then we realized so many people today with the Obamacare plans have huge deductibles, some
Right.
10,
Yes,
20,000, and they're never going to meet those unless they have a catastrophic illness. So we talked about trying to figure out what would be poverty level and things like that. And, finally we said, we may be abused at some point, and somebody may take advantage of us. But, we decided let it be between them and the Lord. And so we have no qualifying. If they call and say, I need it, we do our best to help them.
You say you're based in Dunellen. Is that at a home, or is that part of another organization?
Now, my husband says that our dining room table is an office.
That's your office building, right?
Right.
How does Bunko Babes and Michell O Gram come together here? What's the connection? You touched on it just a moment ago, but
Well, we just felt compelled to keep our money local and help people in the, originally it was the Tri-County area, and now it's branched out the 6-county area. We don't care. We just want to help Michell O Gram. We raise money through several fundraising activities. We have a Bunko tournament every year. This year our tournament is Saturday, April the 4th, I believe is the date, April 2020. And the week prior to that, we were fortunate enough for the Southeastern Pro Rodeo to offer us the Saturday night 50-50 drawing where they pink the rodeo. And the Bunko Babes and the Michell O Gram volunteers are in the stands, along with, I might add, Sheriff Woods' group, selling 50-50 tickets. And the 50-50 portion is donated to us by the rodeo, and Wrangler matches the other half of the 50-50.
Excellent, yeah.
And that is all donated to Michell O Gram. And we've exceeded $5,000 historically in the last few years on the 50-50 raffle.
have you done that typically at the rodeo?
That's
or is
in
that-
March, correct. That's at the rodeo. Our Bunko event is typically and historically 20,000 plus a year.
Okay, what is Bunko?
Bunko is, for a lack of a better word, a mindless dice game. People are like, I can't come because I don't know how to play. And then we always say, if you can count to 6 and roll dice, you can play bunco. It's even easier than Yahtzee. I mean, and it's a lot of fun. Initially, when we had our first event, we only had a couple of gentlemen, but it has really caught on with the men. We had a lot of men in our tournament this past year. In fact, one of our winners was a gentleman. So we have 5 ways to win. It's a blast. We normally sell out 300 plus players. It's held at the Ocala Livestock Pavilion on Saturday night, April the 4th, 2020. We have a theme every year. Our theme next year is the Roaring Twenties, The Great Gatsby. We have silent auction items. We have a 50-50 raffle. We have, I can't even think of everything. It's wonderful to see the support that we have in the community and the people that come out to help us support Michell O Gram.
Bunco Babes, the money you raise go to Michell O Gram? Do you have other
No,
100%
100% for Michell O Gram.
Okay, so
We don't do anything other than breast cancer fundraising for Michell O Gram.
for Michell O Gram. And do you have any other ways of raising money?
Well, sometimes other than our tournament, because we solicit table sponsors, sponsorships. For the first few years, we had to pay for our own food and everything, but now we have vendors donate everything. It's amazing. But other than our tournament and the rodeo, we used to do a couple little things throughout the year, but Tilted Kilt, when they were open, sponsored us, and we did a bike night on the first Saturday in October. We did a 50-50 there, and I would typically make some gift baskets and raffle those off, and that money would go to Michell O Gram. But it wasn't a lot of money, but every little penny counts, so.
With Michell O Gram, how about fundraisers for the Michell O Gram organization?
The Michell O Gram itself actually does not do the fundraisers. It may be the cheerleaders, like this Saturday, the girls have a car wash. It may be a church that has a fundraiser. It may be the football team. It may be down in the villages where they have a pokerade and golf carts lying in the streets. And it may be like a cookie sale or Krispy Kreme donuts. It's just, I always say it doesn't matter how much. It's the fact that people are out in the community and they're making a difference.
How many volunteers do you have?
Well, depending upon the event, like when the Bunco Babes do their tournament, there may be 50. By the time they get everybody in there helping, we don't have just a set list of volunteers.
I see.
The Methodist Church, their secretary volunteers her services as a bookkeeper. And our attorney here in town did all of the paperwork for us to become our own 501c3 charity and didn't charge us. And so it's been just word of mouth. And organizations coming forward and people like the Bunco Babes.
Are you supported by your church? Is that, you said the church secretary.
When we first started, because Michelle had always gone to that church since she was a child, when we first started, the church allowed us to go under their 501c3. That way, of course, we didn't pay taxes on things. We could do charity events. But then as we've gotten bigger and things like that, they've said, well, maybe we're ready to branch off. But we are still a mission of the church. Like in October, we're the mission where people will donate money just for the Michell O Gram.
And what church is that?
It's the Methodist Church in Dunellen.
In Dunellen, okay. I think we got some instructions just a few minutes before we started the program. Michell O Gram and Bunco Babes is not a part of, did I understand him correctly, that it's not a part of the American Cancer Society?
No, we're not at all. In fact, like I said earlier, they do refer people to us for testing, and we support them in their efforts in research, but we feel like it's more important that we take care of people that are in our area and the people that we can see have a difference in their life.
And this has to do with a doctor bill or a mammogram or whatever is needed for testing or diagnostics of some. And you literally negotiate that bill?
We have done that. We've worked with advanced imaging here in town since we started. We've never signed a contract. We've never had a written piece of paper. But they themselves have done fundraisers for us. And as you're going around town this month, you'll probably see those big flamingos out at businesses. That's their fundraising efforts, and that money comes to us. Like Mr. DeLuca at Toyota, he has supported us for the last 5 years. There are other businesses in town that have done the same thing. And it's just amazing the cooperation we've had.
And the support with the community. Well, knowing that their donations go right directly back to this community, we're not advocating that there's anything wrong with any of the other organizations like the American Cancer Society or any other cancer society whatsoever. If that's something you do, that's wonderful. We appreciate anything. This is really interesting that we have an organization here in Marion County that is dedicated to 100% of the monies going back into the community. And you work so hard to get things donated.
Right now, we have served almost 1,500 people. Of that, 5 of those were men. People don't think about men having breast cancer, but 3 of them tested positive.
Yes, that is true. I've learned that in our conversation before as a caregiver. In all the things that I've looked at and studied on that, yes, it's very possible for a man to have breast cancer. It is still possible. What a wonderful work you do. It's interesting to see how Bunko Babes kind of dovetails with Michell O Gram, and you guys just really help out. Is Bunko Babes the main supporter for Michell O Gram?
Yes, they are. I don't know how we would do it without them. In fact, it's like we've all become part of the same family, and we don't do just Bunko. Sometimes we've had floats in the Christmas parade. We've had bra decorating and just anything that would make a little money.
Are there any other organizations like Bunko Babes that helps out? I know you talked earlier about your fundraising, that it would be from maybe a business here or individual or a church, those kinds of places that would raise some money for you. But do you have an organization, any other organizations that help like the Bunko Babes do?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we've had the poker run down in the villages, and that has been very successful. We've had continued support from some of the football teams. They would let the kids wear pink jerseys or pink socks. The little softball teams, some of those. We don't get any government money or any grant money. It is all strictly people that want to volunteer.
That's a good point, yes. Everything that the community gives, and that's all you have.
That's right.
What kind of money does Bunko Babes raise there for
Our tournament.
That's
every year. Well, historically, I would say we average $20,000 a year for our tournament for Michell O Gram. The first couple years we were less than that. Well, the first year we were only $10,000, but it increased every year.
Sure.
Since then. But Michell O Gram wasn't part of us until I believe the third or the fourth year. So I would say an average of $25,000 a year between the rodeo and the Bunko tournament. We have had some little fundraisers over the years, but nothing big.
Sherry?
Another thing I thought about just now was last year, a young lady from the FFA chapter has raised a hog for 5 years, and each year when she sold it at the youth fair, she donated all of her profits. Now, you don't see many teenagers willing to donate money like that and them not reap the rewards. But last year, that hog sold for $43 a pound. So you figure a hog that weighs almost 300 pounds at $43 a pound, that was good money.
Yes.
And one of the young people, she graduated, one of the young people has already stepped up and said, I want to do this year.
Bunko Babes, how many volunteers do you have?
There's 12 regular members of our Bunko group, but we do have other people that help us out. Typically, the 12 of us do everything for the tournament, or at least the majority of the 12 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the actual event, we have to solicit other volunteers through Michell O Gram and Just Friends, because it takes literally an army, because we have 300 to 400 participants playing in this tournament. We're fortunate enough to have Hunter from Wind FM, who is our
Yes.
MC. We're very lucky to have Center State Bank ladies volunteer to handle all the money and count the money for us. And they do that for us at our tournament and also at the rodeo. They've supported us every year since the very beginning. We have my boss, Dan Hightower, is our main sponsor for our tournament. He's made that his signature event every year to sponsor us for breast cancer. So between the 12 of us and Michell O Gram, we just have a lot of people that are so wonderful and give from their heart and help us with either donations of gifts to fall off include in our auction items, or just sponsoring us monetarily. But all that money goes to Michell O Gram.
I know when Hunter earlier found out that you were coming for the homepage interview today and wanted to see you and say hello. We had talked about her earlier as you following her journey with breast cancer, and she is a breast cancer survivor.
Yes, she is. And she's a strong lady.
Yeah, she has a blast. I've heard her talk about the Bunko Babes, and I would wonder, I was like, what is Bunko Babes?
You're going to have to come to our event.
So, my next question, have you had anybody or anyone come up and say, hey, let's do this more often?
Well, we originally started doing this. I was approached by several groups wanting to learn how to put on the actual tournament, and I did help several groups. And I initially said, I really don't want this to turn into like bingo, where it's on every corner every month. And literally it has. We help the ladies at the tax collector's office. We love to go to the Bunko events because we work them at our event. So we're happy to help others support. There's the Pilot Club. The ladies at the tax collector do it for their charities, for Interfaith, and pack the backpacks for school. So any of those events, we all go and help as often as we can when we can. But we only do our event one time a year. It's a big one. It's the biggest one
It sounds like
in
it. Yes.
Florida, literally. And I've only been to one other one that was bigger, or only found one other one that was bigger, and that was in Macon, Georgia. And it was structured completely different.
Let's say someone would like to get involved with helping Michell O Gram. How would they go about doing that? What do you have phone numbers? Do you have website, Facebook page, or anything like that?
We do have a Facebook page, and we do have a website, have a Michell O Gram page. We try to get brochures out, pamphlets out in doctors' offices, in community centers, just so people know about us. And as far as a phone number, we have our message line. That number's 352-469-6006. And if they just call, leave a message, say they're interested, we'd certainly be glad to talk to them. And we're always needing people to go out and do things.
For someone that's needing help, would it be that same number, or would there be a different way for them to contact you?
No, they call that number, and then one of our volunteers will call them back and get their name, their birth date, what the problem is. If they don't have an order for the mammogram, then we have nurse practitioners that we can refer them to that'll write the order, or we'll send them to one of the free clinics and let them get the order that way. We found out early on how important it is to start out with having an order from the doctor, because if the test showed anything, you've got to have somebody to report back to. So that's the reason, even though people can walk into a radiology center and get it themselves, that's the reason we insist on having an order to begin with.
Give us that phone number again.
It's 352-469-6006.
Okay. And they can find you on Facebook and probably Google
On the
Michell O
internet.
Gram and find you that way.
Right.
And for Bunko Babes.
For Bunko Babes, yes. We have a
Someone
Facebook
wanted
page
to-
as well. It's
Okay, go
Bunko
ahead.
Babes of Ocala. And if somebody wants to find out about any of our fundraising events, or if they want to just call us to try to help, volunteer. They can contact me. My phone number is 352-812-3585. Or they can call Stacy Carroll, who's also one of the Bunko Babes. And her phone number, 352-361-7983. Either way, we'd love to get the word out about the rodeo and also about our tournament on April the 4th next year.
Same numbers for volunteers for someone wanting to participate in the Bunko Babe event?
Yes, same phone numbers. If somebody wants to donate an item or if they want to donate food, because we do provide a full meal at our event. And historically, we had to pay for that. We always had to pay for catering, which takes away, again, from our benefactor. So luckily, we've been very fortunate with sponsors, providing food for our event. Every year, so it's all donated. They can donate. They can be a sponsor monetarily. They can donate a gift. They can donate a gift card. They can donate items or food.
Sherry, anything you would like to add to this for the ladies, men out there that just don't know what to do?
One thing I'd like to mention is that we do also assist with genetic testing. When we talk to somebody who starts talking about their mama had breast cancer and their aunt had breast cancer and somebody else had breast cancer, that puts up kind of a red flag to us. And we begin to think perhaps they have the BRCA gene, which predisposes them to have breast and ovarian cancer. So we do a little education that way too. But anybody who feels like they have a lump, have drainage, have any kind of a problem relating to the breast, give us a call. Let's get it checked out. You have nothing to lose. And especially in younger women, those cancers tend to be more aggressive. And we know moms are busy. They're taking care of kids and husbands and working. And they put themselves on the last burner and say, oh, I'll get to it one day. But that's not soon enough.
I'd also like to add that I think historically women have been told that you should have a mammogram at 50 years of age. Michelle is proof that that is false. If you are predisposed, like Sherry was saying, to having that BRCA gene, you need to have a mammogram before you're 50. So like she said, you have nothing to lose. Call and get it checked out.
That's right. And doctors, do you have doctors that refer patients to you to help with that?
Yes, we do on a regular basis. In fact, Dr. Patrick Acevedo over at the Florida Cancer Specialist, he will tell you that mammograms are the key changing the breast cancer numbers. And he personally has donated to the Michell O Gram. So we do have good support. Yes, even like general practice doctors, when patients come in and they don't have insurance or they don't have the money, they refer to us.
Ladies, thank you for being here with us at Homepage. Sherry Roberts and Candy Homan. Sherry is from the Michell O Gram organization, and Candy Homan is from the Bunko Babes. And thanks once again for being with us on Homepage.
Thank you very much.
Homepage is presented as a public affairs feature of 93.7 K Country and Wind FM 95.5, 92.5, and 107.9. We welcome your comments. Please email me. Our email address is homepage@ncfmgroup.com. That's homepage@ncfmgroup.com. You can listen to Homepage by going to our websites, 937kcountry.com or windfm.com. I'm Bob Moody, hoping you will join us next Sunday for another edition of Homepage. 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 Homepage.